All right, it's 6:30. This is the 6:30 p.m. Briefing on Hurricane Isaias for Friday, July 31st, 2020. The main takeaways: timing is slightly slower. We've seen that in the last couple of runs of the model, but we have increasing confidence that we'll see impacts across eastern North Carolina. But again, it's pretty early in the game, so little deviations in track forecasts are going to mean a lot of differences as far as impacts goes. Just a couple of logistics here. Your mics have been muted. At the end, we'll take questions. If you have them, feel free to type your questions in the chat at any time during the webinar. In addition, you can raise your hand using the hand button. We have the ability to unmute your mic, and you can speak verbally if you want to. And if something doesn't work, or if you have feedback for us, don't be afraid to call us afterwards. Jumping right into it, not much change from the briefing this morning here as far as the threat levels go for the individual impacts. Wind will certainly be one of the more moderate impacts, and then marine as well. Still too early to tell. Surge should be an impact as the storm gets closer. Rainfall and flash flooding, the thing about that is it's going to be a pretty quick hitting system, and the fact that we've been dry before the system, most of the areas can handle quite a bit of rain at this point. And so that may not be as big of an issue. We may run into an issue later where you have a lot of rain in a small amount of time, or an urban area or something like that. River flooding and tornadoes also a possibility, but again, a little early in the game to iron out some of those details. Here's the 5 p.m. advisory track cone, and you can see the storm there just north of Cuba right now, maintaining hurricane intensity at the moment. And you can see the track for this advisory has shifted just a little bit to the west. So really hugging the coastline all the way up into eastern North Carolina. And so while we're well within the cone here, the fact that if the track deviates east or west just a little bit means that it may be running over land for much of its track, or if it deviates to the east, out over the water. So that can mean different things for us as far as impacts go. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that track forecast as it comes in. One thing we have going on right now that we really need your help messaging with is the rip current risk. If you are out at the beaches today or plan to this weekend, you'll notice that it's pretty rough out there, and we really need your help with that messaging as far as getting people to recognize the fact that while the weather might be good, the conditions in the ocean itself are not good, and that's going to continue all the way through early next week and through the storm. Confidence in the track forecast right now is medium, but the confidence is low for both the timing and intensity. We've seen pretty big timing differences from run to run of the model. This last run here has slowed the system down a little bit, delaying the onset of the impacts, and that may change again depending on run to run here. But as you can see, as it gets closer to North Carolina, the storm is expected to accelerate as well. So all of those factors right now playing big parts in what will eventually happen. Now is the time to check your hurricane plan and supplies. We are entering that most active portion of the season, as you can see. Again, the rip currents is the most immediate threat to life out there, and we would like help messaging that. The tropical storm wind speed probabilities continue to increase here, and as the storm moves through the Bahamas and up along the Florida coast, that will continue to increase across the area. Tropical storm conditions could begin as early as sometime Monday morning. Again, that's a little later than the previous briefing. So the earliest reasonable time, again, showing that Monday morning. However, if we look at the most likely time of arrival now, we're probably looking somewhere in the afternoon to evening hours on Monday, and then the system continuing up along the eastern seaboard. Maximum sustained winds at this time, You might have noticed if you were on the briefing this morning that these have come down a little bit. The actual numbers aren't as important right now because, again, with those track fluctuations, we could see increases or decreases in the maximum sustained winds. With the track moving west a little bit and over land a little bit longer, you can see that these are now strong tropical storm force winds across much of eastern North Carolina. But again, this east-western placement of that can change. Because of that, we'll throw in the maximum gusts as well, showing that the potential is still there for hurricane force winds, so we don't want to lose sight of that. And we want to make sure that we're paying attention to future iterations of the forecast. Again, don't hang on those numbers too much because that location and the intensity can change. As far as storm total rainfall goes, not much change here as well. 3 to 4 inches across the south, anywhere from 2 to 3 across much of the forecast area, with a little bit less over the Outer Banks at this time. Localized higher amounts are possible, and these numbers can shift around a little bit